Welcome back to my channel. My name is Tatiana. I am a business coach and mentor for women wanting to start their own businesses and really just get out of their own way to go for the things that they desire in their life. Welcome to my channel. I had plans to do a live for the day that this video is going live on my channel, but I decided to just do a quick pre-recorded video instead. I am working through my I.N.S.P.I.R.E acronym for the next several weeks, and I just wanted to talk about the next part of it. If you missed the video that I did to kind of kick this off, I'm launching a podcast. I'm also launching my new shop for the I.N.S.P.I.R.E blueprint and so many different things going on. And so I wanted to introduce this acronym to you all of how it can really help you to build a blueprint for your life. But as I was sitting here, I'll share a little bit more about why I'm sitting here in my car. There's actually a park surrounding me. I just thought that I wanted to pick up the camera and share and talk, and I would encourage you to definitely in the comments talk with me as well. I absolutely love this community and I love to hear from you, especially if you deal with similar things, if you can relate in any way, or even if you have some encouragement for me, because I love when people pour into me as well, because we all need it. So, okay, I had to turn the camera up. This man was parked not too far away from me and was getting out with his dogs. But anyway, the I.N.S.P.I.R.E acronym, I created it to go along with just the launch of the shop, the podcast, and just to have a foundation. I think it's important with anything that you do, no matter what, there needs to be some foundational things in place to just have an understanding of like, okay, what am I doing, right? And so it was no different when I really wanted to take the I.N.S.P.I.R.E blueprint and turn it into more than just a course, because that's what it was a couple years ago. And so the first letter was intention, and I talked all about it in that live, so that was why I was mentioning it. I want to go off in a different route, but I'm going to focus right now for a second because I want to talk about N and kind of tie it into why I'm sitting here right now. So the N is to nourish. And when I was coming up with the acronym, I was kind of laughing because I'm like, nourish is a word that you don't really think of when you think of like goal setting or, you know, going for all of the things, and whether that's an entrepreneurship or just growing in who you are, trying to build this life, right? It's like nourish, okay. But to me, especially since my platforms a lot is geared towards women that want to start their own businesses of impact and things like that, I think it's important to realize that we as the individual, the person that is behind it, needs to be more than good, needs to be filled up, needs to be nourished, meaning your mind, your body, and your soul. So to nourish yourself is definitely a big part of it, is taking care of your body, you know, eating well, getting out and moving your body. This is something that I am always trying to remind myself, because it's so easy to make excuses and just continue to do the same thing. For me specifically, it's very easy to ignore sometimes if there may be something going on. I know I've had my fair share of just health issues over the years, and sometimes, you know, we don't want to necessarily accept certain things, or we're scared to find out about certain things. And in that aspect, I'll say for me, God has been good. But even now, you know, like I really hadn't shared, but I got I wouldn't really call it a diagnosis, but kind of. It's been almost a year now where my blood work came back saying that I was pre-diabetic. And so I freaked out. I didn't really know why it was happening to me. I felt like I ate pretty well. I know maybe in the past, not so much. I'm really a sweets girl and all of that. But I felt like, you know, within the last couple of years, especially since finding out I had a wheat allergy, I kind of have cut back on a lot of what I thought would be things that would even make me considered in that realm. And so this last year has been a constant journey of me, first of all, being scared to go back and get the blood work done again. And at one point I was struggling to eat certain things because I was like, oh my gosh, is it going to make me diabetic? And I've done a lot of research, so I'm not so much worried about becoming diabetic, although I know that's a possibility. But the reason I share this is because it's scary for someone to say that to me. You know, it's scary. It freaked me out. Like I said, it's been a year and I'm just now even saying anything about it on here. And I'm getting to a point now where I'm working through, I've been actually journaling about just this method that I'm talking about in this acronym and what it means for me to nourish myself. And the first thing I wrote down was to go back and get my updated blood work. So first and foremost is let's take care of our bodies, our health, because if you're not together, or if something is slowly festering or whatever it may be, if that's happening, it's going to be really hard for you to go 100% in anything you want in life. So I'm encouraging you to, get the test result, make the call, make the appointment, sit down, create a meal plan, sacrifice the 30 minutes to go on a walk or to do an exercise instead of scrolling on your phone. Like, I'm talking to myself as well with these things, but it's important for us to take care of our bodies because we want to be around a long time. The other part of it is our mind. You want to nourish your mind, and that's going to look different for everyone. Just what really fills you up in a sense of where you leave feeling refreshed and ready to face things, ready to conquer something. What is that for you? Like, what fills you up? I know for me, just one of the big things is just taking some time to journal, which has not always been the case for me. I've really gotten a lot more into journaling this year, to be honest, because before I would be like, I used to do like a little diary when I was younger, and I would always think of that and be like, that's kind of corny, like I'm in my 30s, like what am I doing with that? But it's really been refreshing for me, and what it does is it allows me to feel like lighter, because a lot of times when I'm journaling, I'm also talking to God through my journaling. A lot of the times I'm praying in there or just kind of writing down things that are on my heart, things that I want for my life. And it really has become kind of like me growing this relationship with God through journaling. And so that's just one of the ways that I like to just nourish my mind, is to just get things out of my mind. But I also love to just have positive things that make me happy. So I'm always good about getting some type of self-help book. I'm always good about trying to listen to some good sermon series, worship music, all of those different things I feel always fuel me. They get me encouraged, they get me going. And that is really what I mean when I'm saying nourishing your mind, and really your soul. Mind, body, soul, it's the whole thing. But another piece of this is just taking care of our mental health as well. Because again, if you are trying to have a business, if you're trying to do that, I think it's very important to just address trauma and things that stop you, especially if you have been holding yourself back from doing things, or you're scared and you don't know why you're in your own way. A lot of times it may be because of something you experienced when you were younger that could be stopping you. And so facing those things is nourishing your soul. It's nourishing your mind. It's filling you up with what you need to face your life, the world, your day. It's important. So I'm encouraging you and charging you to do a lot of things, because these are things that I do for myself as well. And therapy, something that I probably need to get back into again. I took a bit of a break the past couple of months, but I encourage you to do that, even if it's just once a month, if you can, or if you can do it a few times a month. I think it's important to just have those tools in your pocket that typically therapists will give you. Have the perspective of understanding, why you may think the way you think today based off of something that happened in the past. And just really uncovering and learning more about who you are is all a big part of nourishing yourself. It's all a big part of building the blueprint that you want for your life, the life you desire, the business you desire. Is really just having this sure sense of yourself and always being able to fill yourself up and know what you need to do to fill yourself up. So that's just a bit about Nourish. The whole acronym is actually going to be on the podcast, which is releasing on October 19th, 2022. I'm so excited. Also, as of right now, the trailer for the podcast is available. So definitely check that out. I'll make sure everything is linked down below. It's called the I.N.S.P.I.R.E Blueprint with Tatiana Muse. And it's really created to just uplift women that are wanting to run online businesses, but also just have that intention behind everything that they do to face the world, to inspire, to put something out there. And what all that does with us as women, our minds, and just all of the different things. Like, I really wanted to really get to the heart of the entrepreneur in this podcast, and I feel like that's what I'm doing so far. I've been recording like crazy and just really excited for the launch. So definitely go listen to the trailer. I would so appreciate the support, and let me know what you think. But for the second half of this random car vlog, again, like I said, I'm sitting in my car at this park. For the second half of this, I just wanted to quickly share why I'm sitting in the car. So a couple of hours ago, I started feeling kind of anxious, and I get these anxious episodes from time to time. Sometimes it's triggered from caffeine, which I think is the case today. Sometimes it could just be from certain types of things. Like, sometimes I can get triggered when I'm just like in the car, especially like when it's dark and I'm in the passenger seat. I don't know, it's just weird. And then also just when my mind is racing, when it's a lot going on and I'm just feeling kind of overwhelmed with way too many thoughts at once. And so I think it's important for us to find ways to just regulate how we're feeling if you run into that, because I know that there's someone else out there that may experience anxiety that might happen to watch this video. And so I just wanted to quickly share. I've been dealing with anxiety for probably really my whole life, because I've always been a worrier, honestly. But it really got more intense after I had my daughter back in August of 2018, because that was when I noticed that I was really worrying about her probably more than I needed to. It never was like officially diagnosed, but I'm pretty sure that that is what I dealt with just based off of how I was. And I've gotten a lot better with her, but I think what really set it off for me was I had a panic attack back in January of 2020. It was the first one I ever had in my life. Don't wish it on anybody. It's super scary. And it was so scary to the point where we called 911. I ended up going to the hospital. The ambulance came. Like, y'all, it was really scary. I really felt like that was probably going to be the last day I was here. I called my mom. Like, it was really scary. But since that happened, I've had these like anxiety attacks. I don't really consider it a panic attack because it's nothing like feeling like I'm getting ready to die, which is a lot of times what anxiety or panic attacks can feel like. The anxiety one is really more so where it's just like my chest gets really tight. I can't really focus. It's kind of like a jittery feeling, but it's really more so just like I can't quite grasp anything because it's just so much going on in my mind, and I just feel slightly out of control. It's like a weird feeling. I can't truly explain it. If you deal with anxiety, you may know what I'm saying. But when I feel myself getting like that, I'm quick to tell my husband, usually. Not all the time. Sometimes I'll try to like just process it in my own mind, but I'll have to just let him know, like, hey, I'm feeling anxious right now, or I'm having a moment. And he'll always be like, well, what's going on? I'm like, sometimes I know, sometimes I have no idea. And so this morning I was sitting there and I just basically told him, I was like, look, I got to get out of here. You know, he's holding it down and I really needed to just get out of the house and clear my mind. So I came to this park that I really like, not too far away from where I live. It's actually really pretty out. So I just decided to come and sit in the car and journal and just sit here quietly. That is one of the ways that I like to regulate, is to just have some silence and hear myself think. And I brought my journal and I decided to actually work through the I.N.S.P.I.R.E acronym for myself. That's what I was sitting here doing and just kind of writing it out. And it's helped me so much because my mind was really racing, and I just wanted to share that, that I deal with that, and sometimes I feel silly, I'm like, why is this going on? But it's the reality of it, and it doesn't take away from the fact that like I have so much faith, and I trust that God has my best interest for my life and all of that. But sometimes it just gets the best of me, and I just have to kind of take it as it is and just kind of submit to it and just be like, okay, let me just get through this moment. So I'm feeling a lot better since I've been sitting here. And so that's why I was able to pick up the camera and film this random car video. Hopefully you guys aren't like, what the heck? But I always feel like it's the message. But as a last thing, I just wanted to share before I wrap this up. So I got a comment on one of my videos recently, which I deleted. And now that I'm thinking about it, it's kind of like I should have just left it up. But I deleted it because it feels like a bit of an insecurity of mine. And I know that that was why I deleted it. But the comment was basically along the lines of, it was like a motivational thing I had posted about just not being intimidated by your potential. Just meaning like if there's something you want to go for, a lot of the people on my channel are fearful of getting started with businesses. And so it was me basically just saying like, don't let your potential intimidate you from getting started. The potential of failing, the potential of succeeding and you not knowing what to do next, or just the potential intimidate you. And I feel like I have said before that my purpose is to inspire people, to help them get out of their own way and really just share my heart. And so that is what I do with everything. And the comment was basically like, just, saying it was fluff, it was soft, and kind of just like, like this is dumb, basically. And so I removed it immediately. And then after the fact, I was like, why did I do that? But I wanted to share it because I know why I did it. I did it because it's a vulnerable part of me. It's a insecure part of me where I feel like people sometimes think about the things that I talk about on this channel are what they call fluff and what they call just motivation and not whatever. Even though I always share strategy too, I always back it up. I give y'all tools, resources, things to look into. But at the end of the day, even if you have the roadmap, even if you have the exact process that someone did to do something, if your mind is not right, if you are not mentally prepared to do something, I don't really think any strategy is ever going to work for you until you are right within yourself. And, correct me if I'm wrong, well, not even correct me if I'm wrong, because I know that I'm right within my opinion, but if someone feels differently, that's fine. But it's just like, I just always get so frustrated, not even with my stuff, but just with people that are motivational, that encourage me and build me up. How, you get that feedback of like, this is fluff and nobody needs to hear this and this isn't helping anyone. But there's so many people out there that no one is telling them anything to encourage them. And that's why they don't go for it, because they simply just are in their head. They don't have the encouragement and the motivation. And so that is why I share the fluff and the soft stuff and the things that somebody might just say like just motivation, because just as much as you want the tools and the steps, you got to have the encouragement and the bravery to do it. Not everybody just wakes up and is just like, oh, I'm gonna start a business today. It's so much more than just action steps is all I'm saying. Like a lot of times, especially with the women that I work with to build these types of businesses, it's really an act of your heart, and it's a full process. It's not just about implementing some steps, it's an emotional process. And so having the motivation and the encouragement, and I know that that's the fact just from what people will tell me about my channel, but I want to be honest, it kind of made me a little bit upset. And it's always just, it sucks because I pray all of the time to continue for my channel to grow and my platform to grow. And I know that with that will come people that don't get it, and don't understand it. And so I'm really just sharing this because I feel like so many times we just see people and they just seem like, oh my God, they just handle it all and they just do it all. But the reality is that's something I struggle with. I struggle with fully being in my purpose, but then having this like Achilles heel, right? This Achilles heel where it's just like, not so much imposter syndrome, because that's definitely not the case, but just like, and I feel like I'm talking through this with you guys as I'm processing it myself, but just this part of me, which I guess is what keeps me close to God, is just this piece of me where I'm always just like, you know, is this good enough? And that is just my heart. That is just the real, it's just a part of this journey. So anyway, I don't really have a resolution for it. If other than that, I mean, I'm going to keep showing up. I'm going to keep sharing my message and just keep praying that it helps those that need to hear it and resonates with those that need it. But I really wanted to express to you all that I truly feel it is very important to, just as much as you share strategy and tips and things, you have to be able to have something to back that up, because those strategies and tips are not always going to be what gets you through. They're not always going to work. They're not always going to be the answer. And, you know, just because one person's strategy worked one way doesn't mean it'll work for you. And so it's just, I don't know. That was pretty much all I wanted to share as I sit here in my journaling situation in this car. I think I'm probably going to sit here for a little bit longer before I get ready to go, but I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know, what did you get from this? What encouragement do you have to pass on to someone that might be reading in the comments? Anything you feel led to share, please leave it down there in the comment section. Make sure you check out the Inspire Blueprint podcast trailer and the links and everything down below. And I will continue unfolding this acronym for you all. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.